Ron.
Jeff, out here it is one feeling of optimism, not so much because of numbers that they have found out today. It's more because of the numbers they have done and the polls that they have done in the past 6 weeks or so. With me now is Bill Geist. He is one of the organizers of the Right for Wisconsin campaign. What were the polls?
Well, the polls over the past couple of weeks have shown, right through the entire campaign, about a 54% yes vote with a good 8 to 9% undecided. And so if that 8 to 9% continues to split the way the rest of the vote is splitting, we may be approaching 60% in this issue. It'll probably be closer to 55, 56% on question number 1, a little less of a margin in question number 2.
That is really the question right now, is whether or not, if in fact it does go yes, no, yes, build it, no, don't finance it with public funds, what then?
Well, that's obviously the big question tonight, because we do know that the second question is a little bit less of a yes vote than the first. We believe both are going to run fine. But if, in fact, the number 2 $12 million bonding question is defeated tonight, what we're saying here is, yes, let's build it, but let's go back and find a better funding package. And the commission, and it's Right for Wisconsin, will go back and do that. But honestly, we think that we've got the votes on both sides.
Okay. And as far as the yes, let's build it, that one you feel pretty firm on?
That's the one that keeps coming back to us in all of our phone banks, the phone polls, that people have a vision for the future. They understand what we're trying to talk about here, what we're trying to do for the future of Madison, and they're saying, yes, this is important for our future. Let's build this. Let's reinvest in our infrastructure, and let's get this thing done. Let's win one for once.
All right, Bill, guys, thanks for joining us. And, of course, because the polls are so busy, that means a lot of them will be staying open a little bit later, maybe 9:30, maybe 10 o'clock, so the numbers will more than likely trickle in rather slowly. So we'll have those numbers for you as soon as possible. But now back to Jeff and Wendy in the studio.
Okay, we've had some reports of people having to wait in line for 2 hours to vote, so it could be some time.
Yes,
I think it is. There are people joking about having to stay there till 4. We have Scott Klug with 65% of the vote, Ada Deer with 35%, with 2 precincts reporting right now. We'll have more for you in about a half an hour. Stay with us. Terrace Convention Center was given the go-ahead narrowly by Madison voters. The first referendum was close. The second referendum approving $12 million of borrowing to finance the center was even closer. But rural Dayton County voters opposed the center in an advisory referendum. And it doesn't matter how close that vote was. What matters now is that Madison voters have approved the Convention Center referendum.
That's right. Joining us now, a man who fought tooth and nail for this victory, Convention and Visitors Bureau Director Bill Geist. Bill, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
All the attention has been on the battle. Now, what will it take to build this Convention Center?
Well, the next piece of the puzzle is to flesh out the funding package. And in that funding package is, of course, the $12 million investment from the County of Dane. Now, the advisory referendum in many of the municipalities throughout this county leads one to believe that maybe the county won't be as interested in coming forth with that $12 million as the vote is. I think that this vote that you're seeing that is narrowly against in a lot of the municipalities throughout the area, and understand that there were a number of municipalities where it passed. I thought it was interesting, the town of Blue Mounds said yes to this. So did Monona and Fitchburg. I think what we're seeing here is that there was more anger that it was not part of a binding referendum than it was anger about the center or Monona Terrace in its own way. And I think that there is a lot of support for Monona Terrace out there throughout the county. And I think that right now it's working with the county board.
Do you feel like this county vote could come back to haunt you?
I would hope not. I think what we're seeing here is that the county board has 2 options before them, and maybe more if they really begin to flesh this out. There is one, and that is a direct $12 million investment in Monona Terrace. The other is an interesting proposal brought forth by the Conservatives, which, of course, Rick Phelps has opposed, and that is a sales tax revenue sharing plan, not unlike the states, that all communities throughout the county would get some money, and Madison would get enough money to build Monona Terrace.
Okay, Bill, make a prediction here. I mean, when will we be able to walk down to the shores of Lake Monona and see a convention center built, done?
Worst case, I believe it would be the spring of 1996. We go into design phase now in 1993. The bids will be let late in 93, construction to begin in 94, to finish late in 95, more likely early in 1996.
Give us an idea of the mood last night when you found out the results.
Well, it was cautious throughout the evening because we weren't sure where the results were coming from. And when we began to realize where our supports lay, then we knew, I think by 10:30, that it was pretty much a done deed and we had it in the bag. The second question was troublesome for a while, but obviously the city of Madison voters have said, let's move ahead with our future and do this.
All right, Bill Geist, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you.